Today's the day that DICE and Battlefield Studios are looking to name as the beginning of Battlefield 6's big return. Over the past few months, we've seen the franchise's highest highs with massive hype and strong sales numbers, but we've also seen some bad lows, as the game has lost around 90% of its day one player base and fallen from around 500,000 players at the start of Season 1 to now hovering just around 75,000. However, while the numbers are just one aspect of the industry we're a part of, perhaps the biggest hurdle Battlefield 6 has faced since release was the untimely death of Battlefield Studios leader and FPS legend Vince Zampella. Sadly, Battlefield has been losing on all fronts, between AI-generated cosmetics, heavily criticized map design, a delayed Season 2, and that massive loss to the industry as Zampella will no longer be here to not just produce Battlefield but help guide the entire industry. However, today, January 20th, that should all begin to change, as today marks the first update as we enter Season 1's extended period, which is meant to repair core gameplay issues, alongside a major announcement regarding who will be stepping in post-Zampella. And while today's update isn't anything huge, it does represent a new cadence for the game, one focused on repairing Battlefield 6 piece by piece and delivering consistent improvements week after week. In fact, next week, January 27th, we'll see a new Battle Pass extension, all the while Season 2 is still scheduled for Feb 17th as new talent joins Battlefield Studios. But before we dive in, if you enjoy in-depth reviews, breakdowns, and discussions on all things Battlefield, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and let's jump into what is hopefully the comeback of Battlefield 6. Right off the bat, before we talk patch notes, let's address Battlefield Studios' newest hire, Julian Garrity, the former overseer of the division and creative director of Star Wars Outlaws. Julian has spent well over 20 years working between Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment, with roles that focused heavily on understanding the player market and building long-term content strategies around live service games. Over time, it looks like he used that experience as a foundation to step into more creative roles, including content and creative director positions. At the moment, we don't know exactly what his official title will be at Battlefield Studios, but based on his resume and how these transitions usually play out, it wouldn't surprise me to see Vince Zampella's responsibilities split across multiple roles, with Julian in particular feeling like somebody who could step into a live service or long-term strategy position, which is something Battlefield has seemingly been lacking. There's definitely a chance he'll have creative input as well, but above all else, Julian seems like a strategy-focused hire. Battlefield came out strong, but it struggled to maintain direction, and that lack of a strong plan has been obvious over the past few months. That said, I'm curious how you guys feel about him joining the team, especially if he does end up working on the creative side. The division has always been creatively striking with a darker, grounded tone, and bringing even a little bit of that atmosphere into Battlefield could be a big win. On the other hand, Star Wars Outlaws had a rough launch and still hasn't fully recovered, with clunky mechanics and gameplay that many players found bland. At the end of the day, I'm cautiously optimistic. Battlefield needs experienced senior leadership right now, and if Julian is used correctly to build a real content and service strategy moving forward, he could be a major asset. Whether this ends up being a turning point or just another name on the org chart is something time will tell. Now, moving past speculation, let's dive into today's patch notes with Update 1.1.3.5, an update focused around small weapon tweaks, aircraft balance, and overall player responsiveness. Battlefield Studios has been very clear that this is not a massive content update, it's just about tightening systems that have felt inconsistent or unreliable since release, and laying the groundwork for future updates instead of trying to distract players with more surface-level content. Update 1.1.3.5 goes live Tuesday, January 20th at 9 AM UTC, which breaks down to 4 AM Eastern and 10 AM CET. This also marks the first update under Season 1's extended service period, and it really feels like a tone setter for how Battlefield plans to move forward. One of the biggest focuses in this update is melee combat, because since release, knives and melee weapons like the sledgehammer have often felt slow, inconsistent, or unreliable in close quarters fights. With this update, melee responsiveness and consistency have been improved across the board. Knife attack speed has been increased, buffering behavior for both knives and the sledgehammer have been improved, and melee damage timing has been tightened so hits register more consistently against enemies and the environment. Sprint behavior during melee has also been refined, with sprint now only being interrupted until the attack reaches its target rather than locking you out the entire animation, which should make melee feel much less clunky in reality. Vehicles also received important fixes. A bug that caused vehicles to explode when performing a takedown on an enemy soldier lying on top of them has now been fixed, which is kind of the most insane bug ever. Next up, jet combat received a notable balance adjustment as the cannons now deal reduced damage against other air vehicles, now needing roughly 40% more hit to destroy enemy jets and helicopters. This is meant to slow down air-to-air engagements and prevent jets from instantly deleting one another the moment someone lines up their shot. Moving on, weapon tuning in this update is largely focused on fixing incorrect stats and attachment behavior. Bipod attachments will no longer display a constant hipfire accuracy bonus, since that bonus only applies when the bipod is deployed. The Grim 1.5 optic and the DB12 now accurately cost the intended number of loadout points. The RPK iron sights no longer shoot low when using the short barrel, and the TR7 light barrel no longer incorrectly boosts muzzle velocity. On top of this, controller players should notice improvements as well, as recoil modifiers have been made more consistent across different weapons. There are also some smaller quality of life improvements worth mentioning. In the firing range, target dummies now take damage while getting back up, and suppressors now emit a small muzzle flash when viewed from very close range only, improving clarity without undermining stealth. Several gadget issues were addressed too. The GDPIS will now properly be destroyed when targeted by tools like the recon drones, defibrillators, and repair tool. The sniper decoy will now correctly hide scope glints from nearby snipers, making it function the way it always should have. Ladders were also another surprising focus in this update. Issues where ladders positioned above the player couldn't be entered has been fixed, along with bugs that cause soldiers to be launched unexpectedly when climbing. Soldier animations while climbing the ladder have also been improved, making vertical movement feel smoother and more reliable. On the UI and HUD side, players now have the new option to customize their reticle color inside the weapon and gadget scopes, which is one of my favorite adjustments with this update. Several bugs were also fixed, including cases where home screen navigation could become stuck, incorrect reload times appearing for LMGs, and reticle colors not updating properly for thermal scopes. Soldier lighting in the front end has also been improved, making characters look better and more consistent in the menus. Explosion effects were adjusted as well, with reduced shockwave force to help clarity during heavy combat. Now moving on, RegSec received a few targeted fixes as well, including consistent jump landing movement speed behavior compared to other multiplayer experiences. Gauntlet also had an edge case fix for the drone and data extraction could permanently disappear if drives were deposited at the exact moment it landed. Battle Royale players should see improvements as well, with fixes for the armor bar disappearing, as well as an issue where airburst launcher icons appeared incorrectly in the loot feed, and Gauntlet also received a fix for armor bars disappearing after editing a loadout. All good small changes, but not anything that's going to affect how players feel about RegSec. Now, looking ahead to what's coming next, this new cadence becomes even more clear with the update scheduled for January 27th, which introduces the Frostfire bonus path. Starting Jan 27th, players will be able to unlock new customization rewards by progressing through the Frostfire mini battle pass, including a new weapon package, a soldier skin, and multiple XP boosts. This is designed as a mid-season progression extension meant to keep players engaged while the team continues work on Season 2 and the much-needed upcoming patches. Free rewards in the Frostfire bonus path include a hardware XP boost, a vehicle skin, and player card customization. Players who own this Season 1 Battle Pass will also have access to additional rewards, including a new weapon package, a career XP boost, and more cosmetic items. Each tier in the Frostfire bonus path requires 10 bonus path points to unlock, meaning you'll need a total of 110 points to complete the entire path. However, unlike previous bonus paths, all points are earned exclusively through weekly challenges. There are no bonus challenges tied to Frostfire, and not every weekly challenge will reward bonus path points, and the number of points earned varies based on the challenge. So checking the in-game challenges menu will be important to understand which challenges contribute and how progression works, similar to what we saw during Winter Offensive. Now, in general, this update reinforces what Battlefield Studios seems to be aiming for right now: smaller updates and more consistent engagement rather than massive drops, followed by long periods of silence. Whether the rewards themselves are enough to bring players back remains to be seen, but it's at least something in the meantime. Overall, Update 1.1.3.5 isn't flashy, and it's not really meant to be. This is a foundational update focused on restoring trust, improving feel, and showing that Battlefield Studios is finally willing to fix the game piece by piece instead of pretending everything is fine. Combined with the Frostfire bonus path and new leadership entering the studio, Battlefield 6 finally feels like it's trying to slow down, regroup, and rebuild correctly instead of going on pretending everything is fine as they drive their player base into the ground. But guys, drop those comments below and let me know how you're feeling about things moving forward and the hiring of Julian. And for everything else Battlefield, stay tuned and subscribe, and as always, thank you guys for watching.